Is there someone that you would like to fight that you haven't asked?
Jack.
A lot of people in the crowd are saying Jake Paul.
Nicky
Is that
30.
you consider boxing?
No.
I feel like I can beat Jake Paul in a fight.
Jake Paul isn't having any of IShowSpeed's bold claims that he could defeat him in a boxing match.
Speed, we out here training. You gone quiet. Woo, woo, woo. I'm gonna show you who the dog is. I'm gonna get this W. Let's up the ante. 25K plus 10K to a charity of your choice. 40-yard dash, just like the NFL season. Download better, play better picks.
Jake Paul, who made his name on YouTube before transitioning into the boxing world, quickly reacted to the 19-year-old streamer's recent comments following a controversial win against boxing legend Mike Tyson. Speed, brimming with confidence, expressed his belief that he could take down Paul, but Paul was quick to shut down the challenge. In response to a post by the Bread Batch about Speed's remarks, Paul posted simply, "Speed knows better. My guy was playing for sure." The comment was a direct dismissal of Speed's claim and reflected Paul's usual confidence in his own fighting abilities. Notably, Paul's manager, Nakisa Badarian, also chimed in on social media, challenging Speed to put his money where his mouth is. "Cool, tell him I have $10 million for him right now." Badarian wrote, "Signed this week. If he beats Jake, he gets a $10 million bonus. Put your signature where your clout is." The challenge was clear. If Speed thought he had what it took, the financial reward would be there, but only if he was willing to back it up with action. IShowSpeed made the claim during his appearance on 360 with Speedy at ComplexCon 2024 in Las Vegas, where he said he felt confident he could beat Paul in a boxing match given enough training time. "I feel like I could beat Jake Paul in a fight," Speed declared. "If I have 6 months, all I need is 6 months. If I have 6 months of training, I'm beating any monster in this world. I think I'm knocking him out in like the 5th or 6th round. It's just gonna be that one good one. You know, like when Gervonta Davis got that one on Ryan Garcia? One good one. He's done. Sleep." Speed's comments were filled with bravado, but the reality of boxing was something that Jake Paul didn't seem worried about.
Jake Paul in a fight. Do we mean a boxing match? Do we mean
Boxing match, yes.
MMA? Why? Why do you feel as if you can beat him?
Look, I respect his work ethic, but when I watch him box, it's like seeing it doesn't look fluent. I feel like I can really get him.
Paul has plenty of potential opponents lining up for his next fight, many of them older and more seasoned fighters. However, Speed and Gervonta Davis at least share a closer age range with Paul than Tyson, whose recent loss to Paul has been a topic of controversy. Tyson at 58 faced off with Paul in a bout that ended in a unanimous decision in favor of Jake, raising many questions about the ethics of such a fight. On the flip side, David Morrell voiced his concerns about Tyson's age, calling it a huge factor and expressing relief that Tyson emerged from the fight unscathed.
What do you think about Mike Tyson, Jake Paul? Did you watch the fight?
Yeah, no, man. It's feel bad, my legend, my friend is down, but don't know it's the lows, but man, it's old. It's 58 years. I mean, you look strong, you do everything, but 58 years is too much. It's too much for 27 years. I mean, 27 or 20? 27. Yes. 27 years is too much. It's too much, but first God, anything happens, so that's cool. Thank you.
Oscar De La Hoya, a former champion himself, didn't hold back in his critique of the Paul Tyson fight. Calling the bout a horrible fight from the start, De La Hoya pointed to Tyson's struggles during his entrance and his evident fatigue once the match started. The 58-year-old Tyson, De La Hoya noted, was a mere shadow of his former self. He dismissed any hopes that the Iron Mike of the 90s would show up and dominate the fight. In De La Hoya's opinion, the whole affair was a sham, with Tyson's decline making it almost impossible for him to be competitive against a younger fighter like Jake Paul.
Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul was by its nature a horrible fight right from the start. It was just awful. Mike almost fell down during his walkout. And he was on quicksand since the first 10 seconds of the fight. It was wishful thinking for all those idiots who thought they were gonna get Mike Tyson of the 90s come out and rip somebody's head off.
De La Hoya went even further, suggesting that the entire match had been staged. He suggested that Tyson's lackluster performance was intentional and that Jake Paul had paid for the win. While the fight was officially sanctioned, De La Hoya questioned the legitimacy of the event, stating that Paul should face real fighters if he truly wanted to prove himself in the ring.
Now, Everyone is talking about how staged this fight was. I do believe it was scripted. And I believe that Tyson was certainly held back. Look, I'm a fighter and I can see it. It goes on the record and it was sanctioned. So Jake Paul paid to get the W on his record? For what? For your own personal satisfaction? I keep telling you, if you want to be a real fighter, like you say you want to be, what are you doing? Like, who's next? Joe Biden?
Meanwhile, Leonard Ellerbe, who works closely with Mayweather Promotions, did express some admiration for Tyson's performance, given his age. Ellerbe acknowledged that Tyson managed to go 8 rounds and recognized his status as a legendary figure in the sport. He also pointed out that Tyson had likely made a significant payday from the event, emphasizing how much more Tyson's career could have earned if he had access to modern promotional strategies during his prime.
Your actual thoughts on Mike Tyson's effort in the ring against Jake Paul, 58 years old. He went 8 rounds, 60 minutes.
Nothing but the utmost respect for Mike. Mike is Mike. You know.
I'm happy he got that paycheck from that fight.
Yeah,
to be
me
honest.
too. Well, I can't even imagine if we would have been working with Mike when Mike was Mike. He'd be a gazillionaire.
Amid all the talk of upcoming matchups and potential challengers, Tommy Fury, who previously fought Jake Paul, weighed in on Mike Tyson's future in the ring. Fury suggested that while Tyson could still draw crowds and make money, fights like his recent one against Jake Paul would likely no longer hold the same appeal. The novelty of seeing Tyson back in action, Fury argued, had worn off, especially after the lackluster response Tyson received during his last walkout, where boos were heard from the crowd. Fury predicted that any future exhibition matches featuring Tyson wouldn't draw the same numbers as his previous bouts, no matter how much money they generated.
Your thoughts of Mike Tyson potentially returning to the ring and Logan as well too, maybe having a piece of the action?
Listen, if it's just going to be what they did before, then it's no problem, is it? You know, Mike's not going to get hurt. They're going to get a load of money, but I don't think the public will tune into that again. That's one thing. I think if they were going to do that again, I think they would get maybe even less than half of the numbers that they got last time, because there was a lot of people booing in that arena. And how it's been received worldwide, it's not been great. So I think that was kind of a one-hit wonder, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Stephen A. Smith, a well-known sports commentator, weighed in with his thoughts on the fight, suggesting that Jake Paul may have intentionally held back during the bout. Smith speculated that Paul chose not to fully press Tyson due to his recognition of Tyson's vulnerability. At 58 years old, with significantly diminished stamina, Tyson appeared fatigued early in the fight, and Smith believed that Paul, showing a measure of respect for Tyson's legacy, chose not to hurt him further. Smith believed that Paul made a conscious decision to avoid doing too much damage, recognizing Tyson's physical struggles.
I think Jake did it on purpose. I think that he didn't want to do it. I think he knew that he could take Tyson out, and he just felt bad for him, and he thought it would be bad for him. He thought it would be bad for all parties concerned for him to take Tyson out. Tyson walked into the ring stumbling. And then in the first round, it's 2 minutes, not 3 minutes. And I saw Tyson tired. But I think ultimately being in the ring with a guy that's 31 years older than you, approaching 60 years of age, compassion kicked in, and he was like, this is Mike Tyson. I really, really don't want to hurt this guy.
Darren Till commented on the situation, suggesting that everyone in the fight game is driven by money. If the opportunity arose to face someone like Mike Tyson at 58 years old, he implied, many would take the chance, as financial incentives can't be ignored.
Probably, yeah. Like, what are we? What's the word? We're all just begs for money, aren't we? Anyone will do anything for a dollar. So yeah, do you know what I mean? So if you're asking me if I'd sell my ass to fight a 58-year-old, then yeah, probably.
David Benavidez shared his thoughts on the fight as well, calling it a good event, but acknowledging that Tyson at 58 was in no condition to continue boxing. He expressed sympathy for Tyson, but also questioned the ethics behind continuing to put such a legendary fighter in the ring, especially against someone like Jake Paul. Benavidez also addressed the criticism surrounding Paul's penchant for fighting older or less active boxers. He noted that while these fighters were responsible responsible for agreeing to the bouts, Paul's motivations could be questioned if he continued to cherry-pick his opponents based on age or physical limitations. Dana White, president of the UFC, weighed in on the matter as well. He emphasized that Tyson's name alone made the event a financial success. Even though Tyson struggled physically, White pointed out that people still tuned in to see him fight, because Tyson is a name that generates revenue. White also acknowledged the physical limitations Tyson exhibited, including his need for a knee brace and his tripping during the walkout, but ultimately it was the financial success of the event that made it all worthwhile.
Mike Tyson was right, and I was wrong. I told him, Mike, you're basically 60 years old, and he's like, you honestly think this kid's gonna do anything to me? He's not good. He's not gonna knock me out. He's not gonna do this. And you saw him, he tripped when he was walking down the thing. He had a hard time walking up the stairs. He had a knee brace on, and Jake Paul couldn't do anything to him. He made a ton of money, and I know people are mad. You stayed home on a Saturday night, but you didn't pay for it. You know what I mean? And, you know, Mike, this is what Mike Tyson, when Mike Tyson shows up, everybody makes money, you know? Jake Paul is, you know, I don't have to tell you guys, you guys know, Mike Tyson is the A+++ side of that thing. And he was right. Jake Paul couldn't do shit to him. So he was right and I was wrong.
UFC fighter Sean O'Malley expressed mixed feelings about the Tyson versus Paul fight. He was glad that Tyson didn't get hurt, but admitted that it was difficult to watch, especially when Jake Paul landed solid punches. O'Malley also raised the issue of whether Jake Paul would ever face top-tier fighters like Canelo Alvarez or Gervonta Davis, speculating that Paul would avoid these challenges and continue seeking out less dangerous opponents.
I was happy how it played out. I'm glad Mike didn't get hurt.
Was it a hard watch towards the end?
It was a little bit. Every time Jake would land a nice left hook or right hand, I'd go, ooh, ooh.
What more do you want to see from Jake next? He's calling out the likes of Canelo, he's spoke about Tank Davis in the past, some of the youth mentioned. Do you think they're just kind of pipe dreams for him?
And you know what? Whatever Jake does next is going to be huge, and I'm going to be excited for it.
Tyron Woodley, who fought Jake Paul in the past, reflected on Tyson's struggles in the ring, stating that it was tough to watch someone as iconic as Tyson in such a diminished state. Woodley noted that Tyson's famous peekaboo style, which once made him nearly unstoppable, was missing from the fight. Tyson's inability to close the distance without getting hit by Paul's jab made it evident that he wasn't the same fighter he used to be. Despite this, Woodley acknowledged that Tyson's ability to last 8 rounds was impressive, especially considering his age.
I mean, I didn't want to see Mike like that, man. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see him like that because if he had it in him, he would have did it. He didn't have it in him, and I feel like his peekaboo style and him cutting the distance off, back in the day, he was up on you. He was in your face. You couldn't stop him. You couldn't get to him. And Jake's like, shit, I don't want to go too close because if I get in there, he might hit me with it, right? So it's kind of like him using jabs, one to fire off, but you gotta respect Mike no matter what.
Woodley also compared Tyson's situation to his own, suggesting that even he, as a former UFC champion, would have a tough time against the newer generation of fighters due to the evolving techniques and training methods in modern combat sports.
If I went out and go wrestle a wrestling match right now, I'm still a good wrestler, but these little motherfuckers are in it. They you know what I mean? They're doing it more often. It's new techniques I probably don't know about. It may be a less hesitant than I am. That's what I felt like I just watched. A boxer that was a great, still in great shape. Let's give him his credit. 8 rounds is hard. Nobody in the stands that's booing can do 8 rounds, not one person. But it ain't the Iron Mike that we know. So that's kind of what I felt.
KSI, a fellow YouTuber turned boxer, was particularly vocal in his criticism of Jake Paul's boxing career. KSI blasted Paul for dodging real fighters, claiming that his wins were merely a way to cash in on hype rather than proving his worth in the sport. KSI echoed many others' sentiments, arguing that the Paul Tyson fight was nothing more than a bank robbery, where both fighters walked away with huge paydays without offering anything resembling legitimate competition.
He was gassed out fighting Mike Tyson, bro. I'm sorry, but like, yes, I know he probably took his foot off the gas because, you know, it's Mike Tyson. He doesn't want to knock out a legend, but
KSI wasn't alone in this criticism. Many fans and boxers alike condemned the event, especially due to Tyson's age and the fact that Paul had a significant physical advantage. Some even labeled it a scam, accusing Paul of picking opponents who were past their prime in order to pad his record and increase his paychecks. KSI in particular called out Paul for exploiting Tyson's declining physical condition, arguing that it was cruel to allow Tyson to continue fighting at his age.
We all know you're just full of shit. You're not really a heavyweight. You just fight all these people that are super easy to fight because you want to just make a name for yourself, get the easy money, easy bag.
Following the fight, Paul was bombarded with challenges from fighters across the world, many calling him out for choosing easy opponents. KSI in particular criticized Paul for seeking out older or lesser known fighters instead of challenging himself against actual contenders.
I'm just here, for me right now, I'm like, where can he go now? Where can he really go at this point? What has he got? He scammed Netflix. He scammed DAZN. He scammed Showtime. He scammed all these people. Where's he gonna go? He MVP is fucking like, what is that? So I don't really know where he's gonna go with that, and I don't think anyone's gonna want to do business with him. Yeah, he has called me yesterday to be on my best behavior. So
you've got John Fury lobbing tables at you, and
well,
might become a little bit.
Well, I mean, look, I have people who could make him sleep anytime. Okay. So, well, hopefully, everyone's on their best behavior.
Let me ask you about Jake Paul, Mike Tyson. I called it a bank robbery because the money was good, right? They the
money was great for Jake and Mike, and I guess we felt hard done by.
I mean, I kind of knew. I saw the 2 minute, I saw the 14 ounces. That gave me a feel that Jake would probably see openings. It's a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, the guy's a granddad. He would maybe box off the jab a little bit and it would go to points. That was exactly what we saw.
Don't really watch boxing, so they probably thought the 58-year-old Mike Tyson was going to be the 18, 19-year-old Mike Tyson they saw back in the day and was going to absolutely destroy Jake Paul, not realizing that he is, well, Mike Tyson is an OAP. He's an old man and had no right to be in the ring. And Jake Paul is in his prime.
Andre Ward spoke about Tyson's enduring presence, saying that Mike Tyson is always Mike Tyson, with a charisma and intensity that commands respect. Ward emphasized Tyson's ability to talk the talk and project such power that opponents can feel it. He encouraged fans to appreciate the fight for what it was, urging them not to overanalyze or expect too much, but rather to enjoy the moment and recognize Tyson's iconic status in the sport.
Y'all don't be disappointed, man. Mike got in tip-top shape. His best shape he could get into for a 58-year-old man. And he went in there and rumbled with a 27-year-old man. What do you want? The legs wasn't, excuse the language, y'all. The language wasn't, I mean, not the language, but the legs wasn't, all the way there. The legs wasn't all the way there. Reflexes ain't all the way there. But that's to be expected, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, man, respect Mike for getting in tip-top shape. Respect both of them for putting on this kind of event, man, because the event was live, bro. I didn't think they was going to fill it up. They filled it up. It was probably maybe a few little seats at the top in the nosebleeds that wasn't full, but, man, they did that. They did that. You got to respect that, man. Y'all have a good night. I got to say my name.
Meanwhile, the Netflix broadcast of the fight was marred by technical issues, including buffering problems, which led to a class action lawsuit being filed against the streaming service. Ronald Blue Denton, a Florida man, filed the suit after he and others struggled to watch the event. The technical difficulties only added to the negative sentiment surrounding the fight.
In breaking news, streaming giant Netflix is being issued a class action in relation to the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. TMZ reports the lawsuit is over streaming issues and a breach of contract. Thousands of viewers claim they had trouble watching the fight. Netflix is yet to comment.
Despite the backlash, Jake Paul's boxing career marches on, with potential future opponents like IBF heavyweight champion Daniel Dubois stepping forward to challenge him. However, the possibility of a fight with Dubois seems unlikely, as Paul isn't ranked by any of the major boxing bodies, meaning any such fight would be highly unconventional. Promoter Frank Warren, representing Dubois, expressed doubt that a fight between the two would happen anytime soon. Boxing analysts like Tony Bellew and Simon Jordan have also expressed their skepticism skepticism, stating that Paul would likely be knocked out by someone of Dubois' caliber.
Did you know that Daniel was going to call out Jake Paul?
No, I didn't, and I mean, I would at the very worst, that would be or the best, it would be probably the worst mismatch of all time.
Do you think it, Frank, diminishes the credibility? Daniel Dubois is a bona fide, legitimate heavyweight champion of the world. Right? May not be the most recognisable yet, but I'm sure if he keeps on going the way he's going, he will be. Do you think in some respect this is not an ideal look? You don't really want him calling out Jake Paul, do you?
Look, if he wants to do it, he'll do it. It won't happen. He's the IBF champion. Jake's not ranked in the IBF. He won't be ranked in the IBF. He's not fought anybody who's ranked in that in the top 10. So it's never going to happen.
Listen, on a serious note, Frank, now that we have you live on TalkSport, who's Daniel going to fight next?
I hope. I'm meeting him today, actually. I'm meeting him in about an hour, so I'll give it, and we'll see where we go with it. But we're pretty much nearly there to where we need to be. So hopefully we'll get it over the line today, tomorrow, and be ready to announce it.
Come on.
In the meantime, though, Paul's social media persona continues to fuel his boxing career as he stirs the pot with challengers like IShowSpeed, who could prove to be another opponent with lots of attention but little real fighting ability. Despite the bold claims, Jake Paul's critics are waiting to see if he'll finally face a true test in the ring. So what is your opinion about this fight? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and check out our other videos for more insights and analysis on the world of boxing.